Hello. Since I made many comments under his video titled Sleep Paralysis Experiences or Demonic Attacks, don't fool yourself, my story. And by the way, usually people making video comments or video replies to videos is because they are against what is said. That's not my case. I really appreciated that he made that video. His channel is Caesar's Paranormal. Well, this is his only video, but it's a very, very good video for anybody to hear, because it is exposing the truth. And what I liked in his presentation, what I appreciated the most, is that he has an open mind. This is what I appreciated the most. I'm not into religion, not even Christian religion, so please keep reading. I want to say that Jesus Christ did not come here to even start the Christian religion, but he came here to start a relation with his creation. Thank you for your video. I added it to my playlist about sleep paralysis. I was not driven here because I do experience those things. When I was 8 years old, I read that those who will lose their lives will gain it, and those who want to gain it will lose it. I'm paraphrasing since I'm French. And in my 8 years old mind, I understood that this book was deadly, so I closed it shut tight real quick. I was so afraid of it. So I really was scared to death to reopen that book myself. So the expression "I close it shut tight real quick" really describe what happened. Just received this comment. It's not just so much about the contradictions, although that is part of it. What made me disbelieve the Bible is the seemingly cruel and vindicative nature of the biblical God Yahweh Sabbath. The claims made by the authors and believers of the Bible seem to be at odds, with what the Bible actually displays. For example, Yahweh is supposed to be forgiving, just, and merciful in abundance. Yet, when David murdered Bathsheba's husband and then slept with her, both of which are crime punishable by death, Yahweh, instead of forgiving David for meting out justice to him, he punished David's infant child, killing it with disease. Why? What did the child do? There are many examples in the Bible that just do not sit right with me, including genocide, infanticide, the killing of children for mocking the prophet. And also the way God seems to be really concerned with trivial matters, such as what fabrics someone's clothes are made from, or followers of other faiths. It is something that I have never understood. It is behavior that I imagine to be infinitively beneath a supreme creator of love and goodness, in my opinion. Jesus is somewhat different in that he had some wise teachings, which is a stark contrast to the seemingly barbaric nature he possessed in the Old Testament, which it itself is a contradiction, because God is unchanging, yet he changed 100% from the Old Testament to the New. I have few problems with the teachings of Jesus, but that is not to say I have none at all. So a reason why I'm bringing to your attention her comments is because they are very good comments. And it's not the first time that I'm receiving those kind of comments, and It's intelligent. It is asking good questions and wanting to understand, and that's why I'm making this video. And I also want to share to the world what we are discussing, because I think it is very important indeed. My reply to this person: I receive what you're saying. I would say that the Masons really mess things up for us. For instance, because we're living today, right? For instance, do you know that the states where they are executing those so-called criminals, the worst criminals, are not in jail, are located in the ley lines? And why? It's because they are sacrificing those so-called criminals, between commas, to their gods, because they are occultists. I know this sounds very simplistic, but that's for the sake of fitting in this box. And I'm sure you understand that I am limited to try explaining something complex. Second paragraph. You see, in our so-called modern society, they are still executing so-called criminals for their gods. And no, that's not our Creator, because see how good He is to have given us the free will, having our own personalities, likes and dislikes, and so on. How a wonderful Father He is to have made us different. There is beauty and majesty in this. I am in awe. Speaking about the Masons messing things up for us, of course they are behind all the secret societies, including the Masonic Pope. That's right, and the Jesuits are also Masons. Alright, the same secret societies behind the Masons of today are the same who killed Jesus Christ. The secret societies from which the Masons are coming from killed Jesus. Okay, again, this is for the sake of course I cannot write a book. I could write a book about this, but I cannot write a book in just a little box. Okay, so please understand that I'm making things simple because we don't have much space. Okay, not because I'm simplistic. Continuing to read. So this is more like the story needs to be read. By not having the influence of the Masons messing things up for us to be confused. I notice that you're capable of discussing in a kind way, and this is not seen very often, so good for you. Jesus Christ really divulged how God is. He was God in heaven, made flesh. So if you do understand Jesus' mind, with a few questions, of course, and wondering about a few things along the way, which in fact is normal and part of the learning process anyway. Remember, Jesus said that me and my Father, we are one. So if you understand Jesus' mind, the real Jesus Christ, you understand God the Father's mind as well. And by the Holy Spirit was sent to us to help us to understand. Reason why He was sent to us, and He's sitting at the right of the Father and praying for us and interceding for us, because He was human and He does understand human nature. Continuing to read. I will make another video if necessary, but I thought that it's very interesting. Our conversation is very interesting, and that's why I'm making videos of it. I mean, she's doing the right way. I mean, people don't know how to discuss. They are not capable of discussing, and I'm not trying to bring her to a church or I'm not trying to bring her to, because they're doing brainwashing anyway, and I'm against brainwashing. I'm against the cult tactics. I think that most churches are just cults, and that anyways most, not all, but most pastors are Freemasons anyway, so you get the picture. And then you have the steeple on the top of the churches, and the steeple is not a saint, it's not a saintly symbol. It is a symbol of a phallus, the same as the obelisk in Washington DC and Rome and other obelisks you see in this world. They are a phallic symbol. The same thing with the steeples on the top of those churches. And also I want to say something else about those churches while I'm at it. And that's the reason why there's no way I want to bring her to go to a church, is that those churches, most of them, are part of the National Council of Churches, and the word Council of Churches, I have a hard time pronouncing that word. I'm French, and when you speak French, you would have problems pronouncing a few words too. So it's normal that sometimes we talk like we have because our mouth is not used to talk those words. All right. So I hope you understand. And so word council of churches and national council of churches are ecumenical churches under the Pope of Rome. So when you're going to those churches, you didn't leave Rome. In fact, you're celebrating Christmas and all those pagan feasts, and you think you're a Christian. Anyways, Christian is not a word we see very often in the Bible anyways. And yeah, Christian can mean just everything and anything. So anyways, her comments. As far as I'm aware, nobody knows who wrote the four Gospels, despite the fact that the title suggests they were authored by those named. Even biblical historians call the Gospels anonymous. I have done a lot of research on the history and historicity of the Bible because spirituality is important to me, as is truth. I hear what you're saying with regard to the Old Testament, that we are no longer under the old laws of those demonstrated in the Old Testament. Although that is a nice idea and welcome news, I find it somewhat odd that those laws would have ever been considered the best possible commands laws by a supreme intelligence whose mind infinitely dwarfs that of the most intelligent human. I find it difficult to glean, meaning from commandments such as those found in Deuteronomy 13, I believe it is, in which followers of the Abrahamic gods are instructed to kill the entire town and burn it so it is a ruin forever, simply because the inhabitants of the town worship different gods. In my mind, the image of that level of violence, waste, and destruction, seemingly for a very silly reason, is inconsistent with a loving entity. With that being said, there are those, There are some teachings of Jesus that I love. The concept of non-judgment, which is something that performs an important role in my life. The golden rule, do unto others, although not exclusive to Jesus as a teaching, it is to me the most important of any moral principle ever taught of. However, the teaching of eternal damnation is something that I cannot interpret in any other way than malice, injustice. I don't know if it is pronounced malice or malice in English, sorry. In French it is malice. Injustice, unnecessarily cruel punishment with no objective of reformation or rehabilitation. It is punishment for punishment's sake, and it only showed up when Jesus did. There was no mention of it in the Old Testament. That is one of the teachings of Jesus that shocks my reason. My reply to her: I know we are very limited in this box. Please allow me to read and meditate a little, because I did not finish my supper yet, and if I have something intelligent to add, I will. And if I need to research more, then I will let you know. I'm not the grandmother of God like those pastors in churches. They are grandfathers of God. They know just everything and anything under the sun. I love the fact that you're capable of discussing, because most people are not. In this, you are different. And yes, I notice that you're a spiritual person, like I am myself. I might take a few hours. It might be tomorrow, I don't know. A reply: that is fine. I appreciate your time and your attention to this matter. There is no hurry, as I am yet to find a person whom can convince me that my frame of reference pertaining to the biblical deity is incorrect. I must hasten to add that it is not because I'm close-minded about the topic, although admittedly it would take a rather adept and convincing interpretation to get me to change my opinion. Enjoy your supper, and may peace, light, and love be in your life always. And I replied to this person: it's nice meeting you. Stay the way you are. It's so nice to speak to a real human being out there. Hey, when folks will read what we share, they will see that 1. It's possible to discuss. 2. It's possible to also be humble, because we both are. And 3. That's possible to be nice to each other, even though we can seem to be at two ends of a spectrum. But the more we talk, the more we see that we are not exactly at the two opposites of it. You will hear from me soon. I'm not going to forget this. And if something is over my head, I'll let you know. And I will continue researching. I'm a truth junkie, so we both are looking for the truth. So that's number 4 on the list. Hey, wow, that's cool. In the meantime, I want you to be able to get rid of that dark entity behind you that would scare me to death. If you think I can help, please email me. There might be things around this that we don't want to talk in public setting. Just think about what you think have caused this to start, if you think it's possible. I also had that I don't pretend to be a specialist of sleep paralysis, not deep paralysis. Sleep paralysis, but I'm willing to help and or research more. Wonderful presentation this young man did. He really helped me to understand better what sleep paralysis is, since I'm not under this, nor I know anybody who went through this. So a big thank you to the author of this video. And she just replied me this: it is nice to meet you too. It is nice to meet you too. I have a hungering of truth, good or bad. Truth is truth, and with it, we can make accurate decisions and behave according to what we believe to be reality. The dark entity seems to have distanced itself. I stopped fearing fear towards it, and it appears to have abandoned me. I talk about anything I want to talk about in public. If someone makes a judgment about it, well, that's their problem and their ignorance. I do not attempt to convince such people who have already made up their minds, as Jesus said, to not cast your pearls before swine. Then I replied to her quote, her quote was, but as soon as I started meditating and watching spiritual videos, then my comment was, I see this coming up twice, meaning to read your comments and see that your start of meditation was also the start of a journey with weird stuff happening to you. So I would think, even though this might be bothering you, what if I would suggest you to stop meditating for a while to see what happens? I'm not 100% positive that everything will cease, but I think it is worth investigating in that direction.